J.L. Warner demanded absolute, and this is something very few people know. J.L. Warner said to Goldenson, I will sign this, but I don't want any interference from the network. The theaters didn't tell me how to make movies, and the network isn't going to tell me how to make television. And he had absolute autonomy. I didn't know that. They didn't announce that. They didn't tell me that I didn't have to worry about the people at the network doing any interfering. In fact, I didn't think about it because I was new to television. I didn't know that the biggest problem in television is interference from the network. I didn't know that because they didn't have the right to interfere, and so they didn't. They had their standards and practices people who would tell me, you can't have him say danged. And I would say, why in the world can't I have him say danged? Because it might sound to some people like damned. And I'd say, oh, God. Well, I'm damned if I'm going to say darned. So I would leave it out. But they had absolute autonomy, and so did I. No one, after the first few weeks of Cheyenne, I was left completely alone. So that's what I meant when I said I had this erector set and was given this playground to do anything I wanted in.
So at no point before the big rating started did anyone ever say, shouldn't Maverick be more heroic? Isn't it kind of cowardly?
Oh, yeah. Francis, whatever his first name was, always was complaining that he wasn't Robin Hood. And the third director that I had, I never used again, although he has a great reputation, and I think probably deserves his great reputation, was Bud Bedecker. The third show I did I brought in the fellow from the pilot, the saloon keeper, played by, I don't know. But anyway, he would appear in shows now and then. He was a running character whenever I badly needed someone that Maverick needed to do something for him.
Was this like Big Mike or something
Big
like that?
Mike, yeah. That's who it was, but I've forgotten the actor's name. Bud Bedecker went on the set, started shooting Maverick, and gave all the heroic lines that I'd given to Big Mike to Garner, and all the anti-hero lines that I'd given to Garner to Big Mike. And I couldn't believe it. I went, by the time I see the dailies, they're already halfway through another day. So I've missed, a huge percentage of the show. And I called Bedecker and asked what he was doing. He says, well, I'm doing my thing. I'm a director, and this is the way I direct. In other words, he didn't agree with, when he directed Randolph Scott was a stalwart hero. When I directed Randolph Scott, and he had a line like, well, if the Union wants it, they're going to have to come and get it, meaning gold that they had taken. I would say, Randy, throw that line away. And he would do it. He would say, well, if the Union wants it, they're going to have to come and get it. But he would read the excessively heroic reading would have been acceptable to his other directors. And so Bud Bedecker Bud Bedecker later gave an interview to a man writing a book about directors in which he cited this story as an example of that he was no tour. He says, I took Huggins' script and I gave all those lines, cowardly lines and non-hero lines, I gave them to the other guy and gave Maverick those lines. That was Eric Sherman who told me that story.